So, finally, why the confusion? Why is it that we can't call fascists socialists and National Socialists socialists? Why is there this insistence that somehow they aren't socialists when they were actually implementing many socialist features? Well, a lot of it comes down to uh, the what was going on during World War II, almost entirely. One thing to understand is uh, Soviet socialists and German National Socialists were in collaboration from a very early point in the Nazi regime. Uh, they were allowing Germans to practice with tanks and submarines in clandestine bases in the Soviet Union, whereas the Nazis and fascists almost came to blows over Austria, where they didn't start collaborating until the Italians thought they were about to miss out. So the big problem comes is when Germany finally declares war on the Soviet Union. So you have a problem of describing the war between Germany and Russia as a war between National Socialists and Soviet Socialists. This creates kind of a propaganda nightmare. So something to remember is that the fascists at this time are the junior partner. It's the National Socialists who are leading the charge into Russia. Initially, the fascists had no troops on the front at all, and later would be only a minority of the troops that were out there. Yet the whole conglomeration of Axis forces would be referred to as fascists. Well, the key thing is the words National Socialists has the word socialist in it. That makes it problematic. Uh, the term Nazi is an acronym that, if spelled out, has the word socialist in it, which causes a problem. However, the word fascist doesn't say socialist outright, making it much more acceptable. Plus, for the Russians, it was an untranslatable foreign word. So it's a boogeyman. Rather than saying the National Socialists are coming, it's the fascists are coming. Uh, this word fascist was used almost exclusively by the various propaganda outlets of Russia to describe their enemy. Uh, they very rarely use the term Nazi, they almost always use fascist. So, what would happen is Westerners who were sympathetic to the Soviets, sympathetic to Stalin, sympathetic to communism or socialism, adopted the word fascist as well to protect their favorite ideologies from becoming contaminated by comparing one form of socialism to another. Additionally, uh, because the United States was allied with the Soviet Union at the time, adopting their nomenclature helped by not confusing Americans between two different forms of socialism. Ultimately, since fascist and National Socialists were absolutely defeated in the end, the winners chose to commingle the terms to make them forever synonymous. Because of empathy and not wanting to besmirch an ally, academia and media would carry the banner of fascism as a German Italian system, as opposed to being solely an Italian system. Academia and media would insist that the existence of any property, any monetary exchange of goods, or any profit made calling fascist Italy and National Socialist Germany impossible, that they could be socialist because of those three items. Now, this is despite the fact that post-revolutionary Russia. Essentially, once the revolution was over, and they attempted to collectivize the farms, eliminate property, and briefly eliminated money, they almost fell into oblivion. Part of their reforms were to allow property, to allow monetary exchange, and to allow profit. So the National Socialists do this, and they're not socialists. The fascists do this, and they're not socialists. But the Soviet socialists do this, and it's just fine. They're socialists. Part of it also comes down to what I call educational mind worming. Essentially, you have a lot of people who are either pro-socialist or pro-communist, and they desperately want to paint these minority elements of an economy that look capitalist in an economy that's overwhelmingly socialist. And this goes back to the very beginning where I talked about the idea of things being partially socialist. Well, if you're mostly socialist, aren't you socialist? And so this mind worming is a lot of students who are less interested in history and the systems pick up the we heard there was capitalism going on in Germany, and there was capitalism going on in Italy, so they weren't socialists at all. And this is just essentially part of the dumbing down of the typical high school and college student. I want to end this, which was probably one of the more famous quotes that people like to throw out from Mussolini, that fascism should be more properly called corporatism because it's a merger of state and corporate power. This quote is fabricated. Mussolini never said this. This quote does not appear in any of the Italian sources for original fascist thought. This is something that appeared somewhere after World War II. So I hope this overview in parts helps some people understand the concept I was trying to lay out. If you have any questions about what I brought up or comments, comment below. Please consider smashing the like button. If you know somebody who would find this interesting, share it with them. And if you like my content, please consider subscribing. I put out a bunch of these a week. You can be notified of when they come out. Well, thank you very much for spending time with me tonight. Hope to see you again in a future video.